I watched from the doorway as she packed, her hands moving swiftly to push garments, shoes, and high-end handbags into an open suitcase as though she was rushing out of there before I could stop her. I wasn't here to stop her, but I also wasn't here to plead, beg, or even argue. That wasn't why I was here. I was here for something far better, something she wouldn't expect. It's unbelievable that you sold your 23-year-old boyfriend our dream home for just $1. Vanessa hardly looked at me, but a smirk briefly appeared as I spoke steadily, neatly smoothing up her face as she zipped the suitcase shut. You'll never get it back. Now that it was legal, I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorframe, pleased. The way she stated it, as though she had won, was almost comical, like she had outsmarted me. That made it even more pleasing from a legal standpoint. I repeated, "You placed it in his name." I let the words sink in. "Now he owns it," she said sharply. "Nathan, let's not go into too much detail. You understand how this works. You're a lawyer. The transfer is completed, the deed is signed and official. You can't do anything about it." She tilted her head, feigning honesty. "You ought to be happy for me. I get to move on, and you get to let go of the past." Ah, that was the rationale. Cheaters love to use this short speech to convince themselves that they're the victim so they can sleep at night. In their minds, they were forced to burn everything to the ground because they were somehow stuck in an unpleasant situation. Vanessa flipped when I said, "That's how you see it? You're moving on?" She pulled another bag out of the closet, tossing her hair over her shoulder, her confidence building. Of course I was suffocating, Nathan. You were so preoccupied with your work and cases. Carter gave me what I needed more. The boy toy she threw our marriage away for. The same Carter, who, most likely, had never even filed a tax return in his life, much less comprehended property law. But in her opinion, he was a real man. I chuckled and said lightly, "You." That one word made her pause. She curled her fingers. Slowly, she turned to face me. I nodded naturally. "If this is what you truly want, and Carter makes you happy, then who am I to stop you?" Her eyes narrowed as though she were trying to determine what game I was playing. We had been together long enough for her to be suspicious. I shrugged. "I'd rather end things with some dignity." She grinned as if she had won something, as if she had expected a furious argument and was thrilled that I was simply rolling over. She had no idea. I allowed a gentle smile to appear on my face and added, "Before you get too comfortable, you might want to read the fine print." Vanessa scowled. "What fine print?" I shrugged again, already stepping toward the door. "Nothing special. Just something I noticed while reviewing the documents. But if you're confident it's all legal now, then I'm sure everything will work out." As I left, I could feel her eyes piercing my back. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. Vanessa wasn't stupid. That was one of the things that had first attracted me to her. But she was reckless. She made choices based on whims rather than long-term consequences. And that, precisely, was why she was about to regret everything. My phone died the moment I stepped outside. I had no idea she had just signed her own financial death sentence. But before Vanessa even called me, I already knew what she was going to say. "What the hell did you do?" I remained silent. I let her think about it. Let her sweat. Because 2 weeks ago, I had already set her fate in motion. Then, at 9:20, I received another call. When I checked my voicemail, her voice sounded unsteady, almost desperate. "Unrecognizable, Nathan, please answer. I have to speak with you, it's important." I don't really know how this happened, but I let out a strong exhale and called the county I.O. Naturally, she did, but it was simpler to act as though she hadn't. "Please give us a call." She was crying, and I wasn't going to stop, so I wasn't sure what to do. Vanessa had shifted to texting instead of calling, and Nathan responded to me. "Nathan, please stop being so immature. I need to talk to you about this. I can't afford it. I don't have that type of money, so please, please, please." She had constructed this whole house of cards on lies and deceit. And now, realizing I wasn't coming to save her, everything around her in slow motion was collapsing. At 2:30 p.m., I received a different call. "This is Stephanie Wells from the Property Tax Division," she said. The first call was from the County Tax Assessor's office. "Mr. Reynolds," I leaned back in my chair. "We wanted to make sure the reassessment for your previous residence was finished." "Stephanie, that's wonderful to hear," I said. "The total amount is $980,000 in overdue taxes," she instructed. We had previously notified Mrs. Reynolds. Vanessa had most likely just opened the letter, and her heart must have stopped when she realized there were no openings, no extensions, no escape routes. By the evening, I received another call. But this time, it wasn't from Vanessa. It came from Carter. I had been anticipating this day, the day when truth would finally arrive, when it would strike them both like a sledgehammer. So I picked up the phone. "Hello, Nathan." Carter's voice was hurried, nervous, slightly louder than usual. "I need to speak to you. This is serious." "Oh," I murmured, feigning surprise. He blurted out, "The taxes on the house. I only just found out. Vanessa didn't mention it for a long time, which is strange." I smirked. "You just found out?" I leaned back in my chair, enjoying the awkward pause, meaning she didn't know either. "Liar. Since you are now the legal owner of the house, I'm not sure what you want me to do about it, Carter." His voice cracked. I can't afford it. I don't have that kind of money." I let him sit in silence before I spoke. "Carter, you must assist me, dude. I truly don't know what to do." Carter didn't respond. "If I were you," I said, "I'd sell the house before the county takes it away." I could practically hear the gears turning in his head, the slow, creeping realization that he was going to lose everything. Vanessa had vowed she'd find a way to fix it. I sighed. "Carter, you were just a pawn she used," I said. He didn't answer. "She used you to try to hurt me, and now she's realizing she let herself down." He let out a sharp exhale. "I should have never," he muttered before hanging up. The next morning, Vanessa arrived at my office. She didn't stride in with confidence this time. Instead, she was breathing heavily, her face flushed with desperation. She slammed the door behind her, her eyes wild. "You need to fix this." I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Good morning to you as well, Vanessa." She just stood there, trembling. "The county says I owe nearly $1 million, Nathan." I set my cup down. I heard her gasp. "You were aware of that?" I arched an eyebrow. Her palms tightened into fists. "You read the deed limitations, Vanessa. You sold a house for $2.8 million, or I chuckled. "And you did it on purpose, without looking at the documentation, for $1. "That's not on me," I continued. She flared her nostrils. "I don't have that kind of money," she whispered. I leaned back in my chair. "That sounds like a problem for you." "Nathan, please," she echoed my own words back at me. She took a sharp breath. "I can't lose everything. You should remember the day you sold our house to your boy toy for $1, I said. "What were you thinking?" She swallowed hard. "Were you thinking about what might happen to me?" I asked. "Or were you just trying to screw me over?" She glanced down. That was all the answer I needed. "You made your decision," I said. Her bottom lip trembled. "Now you get to live with it." She took a wobbly step back. "I hate you, Vanessa." I said. I felt nothing but joy as I watched her leave. Hate yourself. She had thought she'd won. She had thought she'd ruined me. But now, she was the one watching her world crumble beneath her feet. And best of all, she built the whole thing herself. Vanessa had always been adept at seeming untouchable, as if she was superior to everyone else, as if she would never lose. But today, she was losing. And I hadn't even begun yet.